Thank you.
Morning to you all. Vasili Amajaya is my name, Member of Parliament from Mash Central Province.
Good morning. My name is Tendai Nyati, MP Lobengla Magwegwe constituency.
Good morning, Chair. Good morning, everyone. My name is Muskwe Shiri Benjamin, MP for Mozi North constituency.
Good morning, I'm Chinanjawana Consilia, MP, Mashonaland West.
Greetings, everyone. I am Makumi Rubafanzo, MP for Chile Central constituency.
Thank you very much, honorable members. And we now come actually to you, PEMSEC actually, and your team.
Thank you very much. It's a very good morning to the Honorable Chairman of the committee.
Good morning.
And it's a good morning to all members of the esteemed committee. My name is Fungwa Kunaga, the Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Mines and Mining Development. I have some officials from the ministry, and with your indulgence, I think they will do self-introductions.
They can go ahead, because I mean, there's no man who can walk on one leg. You need 4, 6 legs to move in your ministry. It is very important, ministry teams. Thank you.
Good morning, honorable members. My name is Ranga Mazu, Principal Policy Planning and Coordination Officer. Thank you.
Good morning, Honorable Chair. Good morning, Honorable Members of Parliament. My name is Charles Tower, Chief Director, Technical Services in the Ministry of Mines and Mining Development. I thank you.
Good morning, Honorable Chair. Good morning, Honorable Members. My name is Chirenjani Ammonius, Director Finance and Administration, Ministry of Mines and Mining Development. Thank you.
Good morning, Honorable Chair. Good morning, Honorable Members. My name is D. Shorai Muchineripi, Chief Accountant, Ministry of Mines and Mining Development. Thank you.
Good morning, Honorable Chair. Good morning, Honorables. My name is Ruziwe Ruziwe, HR Director, Ministry of Mines and Mining Development.
Your delegation is finished, PEMSEC. Now we have got now to say you take oath is required. Maybe somebody to help him.
I, Fungwa Kunaga, swear that the evidence that I will give is the truth, nothing else but the whole truth. So help me God.
I, Charles Tower, swear that the evidence that I will give is the truth, nothing else but the whole truth. So help me God.
I, Chirenjani Ammonius, swear that the evidence that I will give is the truth, nothing else but the truth, but the whole truth. So help me God.
I, D. Shorai Muchineripi, swear that the evidence that I will give is the truth, nothing else but the whole truth. So help me God.
I, Ruziwe Ruziwe, swear that the evidence that I will give is the truth, nothing else but the whole truth. So help me God.
Having done the introductions, PEMSEC. We have written to you. We have got expectation that actually we want clarity from. You will understand our position as a committee of parliament, knowing Zimbabwe is under sanctions, and with the endowments that we have in the country, your ministry administers it. And if you are getting only 39% of the budget that you require, honestly, it should be a big concern to the nation and, of course, the Parliamentary Portfolio Committee on Mines and Mining Development. If you would then go ahead and give us what you got, the first, second to the last of 2025. Over to you.
Chairman, thank you very much, and it's a very good morning once again to you, yourself, the Honorable Chair. It's a good morning to our esteemed members of the Portfolio Committee. Chairman, when you invite us to appear before you, we don't take it for granted. We take it with the seriousness that it deserves. We know that in terms of the Constitution, Parliament plays a very major role and critical, which is oversight on the operations of the ministry and the functions. We also take it seriously that in your oversight role, you have to look at the issues of financial management in the ministry. And above all, Chairman, we also take with gratitude the fact that you also look at the importance and relevance of the ministry in the economy. And I think that context is very critical. Chairman, before I go into the details, allow me to say, I think we have turned a leaf as a ministry. In 2024, we had a situation where we're very much late periodically in terms of submission of our expenditure reports to Parliament. I think you saw over 2025 and even starting in 2026 that we have improved on that. So we want to commit, Chairman, that we will continue to timelessly report on our expenditures and performance of the ministry to the committee, principally because that's where you draw your mandate and you also be able to guide us. Having said that, Honorable Chair, I have come with a team and they represent a number of portfolios in the ministry. But the main one perhaps is the finance and administration when we are dealing with financial issues. So I have the director and his deputy here, the chief accountant. Then on the operation side, we have the chief director responsible for technical services. That's also the department that looks at provincial operations. And of course, we have our colleague from HR. We are trying to address the issues we have put to us, Chairman. I want to confirm, Chairman, that we did receive your letter dated 7 April 2026. In the ministry, it got to us on the 14th of April. But I'm just putting that on record to say we received the letter and took note of the areas that we want us to address. I have structured my presentation, Chairman, in this order. The first one is to look at 2025 budget performance, where we would look at the budget allocation, the resources that we received from Treasury, and the analysis in terms of variance. So that will be the first part. The second part, Honorable Chair, will look at 2026. The budget we bidded for, the allocation, and the performance in Q1, which is first quarter, January to March. Then the last part of the presentation, Honorable Chair, will now zero on the specific issues where you wanted action on the issues that have been raised previously, such as the issues of the vacant posts, which appear to be increasing, the issues of utilization of our expenditure, the issues of revenue, and also the general findings by the Auditor General. So I wish and request that you indulge me, I present in that format.
Maybe, honorable members and the Minister of Mines, we will say the letter is specific. We are looking at the budget performance of 2025. The 2026 one is a story for another day. Today, we are looking at the budget allocation of 2025 with the first quarter, the second, the third, and the fourth quarter, which is precisely and only 2025. 2026 belongs to the Lord, and of course the ministry will give us, we are already in April. We are looking forward to having the first quarter of 2026, but for now, it's 2025.
I'm guided, Honorable Chair, and we do exactly that. Just for information, maybe to remind the Portfolio Committee and stakeholders who might be attending, the mandate of the ministry is to promote sustainable and responsible exploration, the mining, and the beneficiation and value addition of our minerals. We also go further to look at marketing and also the overall management of the mining minerals being mined. So the mandate of the ministry is there to benefit the whole economy, because out of this we generate foreign currency for the country, which is estimated at 14%. We also look at the contribution to overall foreign currency generation for the country, where the ministry or sector contributes over 75%. So we always want to stress this critical role the ministry has to be playing, because we need to contextualize our discussion. Now, when you look at the 2025 budget, honorable members, I want to remind ourselves that the bid by the ministry for the year 2025 was 2.1 billion Zimbabwean ZiG. 2.1 billion. This was a bid. When the appropriation for the year was finally made by Treasury for 2026, we received an allocation of 799.794 million Zimbabwe dollars. So this, when we discuss this openly, Chairman, this is where our challenges start. From a requirement of 2.1, you have an allocation which is far less than that figure, and in this case it's less than $1 billion, against a bid which was above 2 billion. So this allocation, Chairman, is a one which we are supposed to survive on, to implement and undertake our mandate as ministry for the 12 months of 2025. When we have an allocation, Chairman, we then wait for releases from Ministry of Finance. Unfortunately, we don't have a regular timing in terms of when the releases are made. They are supposed to be monthly, but over the past few years, these releases are not that regular. They come as and when the Ministry of Finance can do so. This is against a requirement where the Ministry of Finance asks us to present an expenditure plan for the year. So we present religiously an expenditure plan which says every month requires so much against this budget allocation. But when the Ministry of Finance allocates the budget releases. They are not regular at all, and they don't follow that pattern. So against this allocation of 799.794, by end of the year, the Ministry of Finance has released 420.679. So you have an allocation of 799 for the year, but the release for the 12 months, which is the end of the year, is 420. So again, this is where the challenges start. This is not in sync with the expenditure plan that would have put to finance, but they are only able to release that. When the Ministry of Finance makes budget releases in any period, we then wait for the actual cash, which is when they disperse the cash to our account for us to be able to make payments. You will see, Chairman, in the report that I have shared with you, that in the third column, that's where we indicate the actual cash that we received for year 2025. They released 420.679, but the cash that actually came to our account is 392.688. So there is that variance which we have to contend to. If you have some contracts and supplies that have been made, you are only able to make it out of the actual cash that we have. This includes even situations where staff have traveled into the field and they require T&S for support as they are out in the field. So, Chairman, my presentation here is saying you might have a big allocation, which for a start is even lower than your bid. But for you to secure the necessary support to undertake your activities and operations, you fall short because of this kind of scenario. So you will see that the disbursement by Treasury is barely half of the allocation that we received in the Blue Book. You mentioned, Chairman, the issues of the percentage utilization. In the document I've given you, if you look at the last but one column, which says the BE, that is budget expenditure, against budget allocation, we only managed to do 49%. So if we are going to try to look at how the ministry was able to perform, this analysis already gives you a story to say there are a lot of things that we are not able to do given this funding situation. So what this means, Chairman, if we have a situation where, just as an example, you have a mine accident in Manicaland, you have to wait for the Ministry of Finance to get the cash, first the release for you, and then the actual cash for you to support the operation which goes to attend that mining accident. If, for example, there's a report that there's a hotspot in terms of a gold rush and miners are not performing well, there's degradation, whatever, it means you have to still go to Ministry of Finance, cap in hand, to ask for the actual cash for you to be able to do this. But this will come at a situation where perhaps you are already sitting on previous unfulfilled expenditures which have been accumulating. So this scenario, Chairman, is presenting problems for us. But in a nutshell, this is the performance that we had. But before I conclude on 2025, we also had some direct payments which were made by Ministry of Finance, which we indicate in that document. The direct payments by Ministry of Finance reached 175.444. So these are situations where we have procured something and payments is due, or they are already pre-commitments. Instead of this money coming to our account, at times it's convenient for Ministry of Finance to pay those directly.
Point of order then.
Yes.
Honorable members, we understand what the PEMSEC is saying. To me, they are okay, but the finger is pointing at Treasury and Ministry of Finance. My point of order is, when father trusts the son who is going to Daya Institute, he will give him his pocket money for the full year. But if he doesn't, he would rather go and pay the tuck shop that is next to Daya Mission. But go ahead, PEMSEC.
I wanted to proceed, Chairman, to say, as a ministry, we are also expected to play some role in terms of revenue mobilization. And for year 2025, we were able to raise from our fees and levies a total amount equivalent to 7.8 million American dollars. And on the other hand, we also have a ZIG component, which was 505.5 million. So the Ministry of Mines also collects from each service provision, it also collects revenue. And we have a fee structure which we implement, and that enables us to mobilize revenues. But this is not revenue for us to keep and use. Under the current arrangements, this money is remitted fully to the Treasury. So month in, month out, we collect some money, and in terms of the current setup, this money goes to Ministry of Finance. We have raised this issue before to say previously there was some arrangement across government where government departments would retain a certain proportion.
Yep.
And why that was happening was for us to be able to meet the day-to-day operations of the institution, in this case the Ministry of Mines, to be able to respond to the requirements and dictates that we meet on a daily basis. But because this was stopped, we don't have that leg room. We don't have that pillar anymore. So, Chairman, in terms of 2025, I wanted to submit this short report that I have outlined to say we had that allocation against the bid that we had, and then the releases throughout the month, the year, were at this level, which presents a problem on its own. But the actual percentage is 49% utilization. You want to chip something? Chairman, if you may allow me to say, when we have this kind of performance, what are the areas which suffer? And if you give me 3 minutes, I could just outline the areas where we have been.
3 minutes granted.
Yes. The first component of where we fall short is the mine inspections and also the operations of our laboratories, which are very key in accounting for minerals. Mine inspections, Chairman, there's a requirement in our terms of our Mines and Mineral Act whereby for every mining establishment we are required to inspect at least every quarter. Meaning if you have in any province a number of mines which are there, for us to understand what is happening there, we need to visit them through our technical departments. But with the kind of revenue or expenditures that we are receiving, we are falling short of being able to undertake that. It's not a conducive situation where you have a mining which is operating and you take 6 months, you take a whole year without getting to the ground to see what is happening there. We expose ourselves to loss of minerals and leakages. And even the minerals in terms of safety and health, these issues occur. So mine inspections are falling short grossly, and we are worried about that. His Excellency instituted a responsible mining audit, where we're supposed to audit all the mining establishment at least once every year, over and above the routine inspections. But over the past 2 years, we have not been able to do that because of these budget constraints. So when we have this situation, honorable members, it means that the miners, even the large scale, they do as they please. They don't observe our laws. They don't respect what we expect of them, even in terms of commissioning the right equipment, also in terms of managing the waste that comes out of the mines. So there's a challenge there. So mining inspections do suffer when we have this kind of budget scenario. Then the metallurgical department, it operates laboratories which are supposed to assay and test our minerals for quality and full understanding of what is in each mineral ore. But because the laboratory has not been capacitated, even to the extent of failing to get the materials that are used for testing, what do you call those? Chemicals. Yeah. We are not able to get that on time. So it means our laboratory is idle and our miners end up going to the private sector because our own central laboratory does not have the requisite capacity. We might have the bodies in place, but we are short of these materials which we require. Another area which is suffering, honorable members, is that of exploration. The budget over the past few years has not been living true to the concern and the requirement that we explore our land for the mineral that we have in the ground. When you don't have adequate exploration, it means therefore you cannot have investors being guided in terms of where to undertake the mining operations and what minerals to invest in. So the issue of exploration has been relegated to the very back when it's supposed to be a very critical operation under the mining sector. We have also, Chairman, been very constrained in terms of undertaking investment promotion activities. Investors have to be enticed to come and invest in your jurisdiction. Some of these investors are far and wide. You have to be attending whatever international organizations or events that take place where you are able to meet them. And even locally, you should be able to host some investors and be able to talk to them. So investment promotion is also suffered because of inadequate budget release from finance. When you don't have adequate investment, it means what we are saying we have been able to achieve in mining is not the maximum because you have not marketed the country. So this issue requires funding. We need to be traveling and meeting investors, not just the ministry, but also the portfolio committee, because you do support the sector. So these issues require attention. The last but one issue which has suffered more prominently is our provincial operations, Chairman. The Ministry of Mines is supposed to be a field-based entity. So it means when we have a provincial offices, those people should not be paid for sitting in the offices. Their work as geologists, their work as surveyors, their work as metallurgists is supposed to be out there in the field, undertaking what they know best. But because we have limited funding, we are not able to even support vehicle maintenance. So you go to our provincial offices, you'll find 3-5 vehicles that are just lying idle. Some are missing batteries, some don't have fuel, and this kind of issue. So would want Chairman, the committee to note that this budget release is not helping us in terms of propagating our provincial operations and therefore service delivery. At times we debate in the ministry to say, is it fair to the public that we are spending money on salaries and wages for a geologist who is not going to the field? We are spending money to a metallurgist who is not capacitated to go out there and do the work that we are supposed to be having out of this pay we are paying them. So this is a problem area that I think would want to take a note of. And also related to that is the issues of tools of trade and the like. Our people require basic things like computers. It's not the best of good situations where if you go to a province, the data for the nation is in an individual's iPhone, because we don't have a tablet, we don't have a laptop in the office adequate enough for this person to operate. So these matters, Chairman, would require attention. There are many issues that we present to Ministry of Finance to say we have this activity, but it's not meeting the requisite support timelessly. So, Chairman, those are some of the gaps that we see because of this budget performance. I submit.
Thank you very much, PEMSEC. Thank you so much, honorable members, for listening. Now, PEMSEC, we will now ask you to respond to what actually the letter that Parliament wrote to you on. You know, like we read it before, action being taken to address one, the increase in the number of vacant posts, the low utilization of displaced funds, never mind, you actually alluded to them, the issue of direct payments by the Minister of Finance, Economic Development and Investment Promotion, the Auditor General's findings. Also, actually, we will ask you actually to explain how the mines, Minister of Mines, it prioritizes its programs considering the acquisition of non-financial assets, had a low budget utilization of the percentage used when there is urgent need for mineral detection technology at border posts. Ours is to say, the Auditor General noted that you are late always with your financials, them subsequently to us, and us wanting actually to know how and why. And taking cognizance that Zimbabwe's main pillar of survival is the natural endowments, which are minerals. You are making money, you are not retaining nothing. What do you think would better your operations? It becomes now rhetoric that treasure does not give you money in time. But what is the remedy? Yedi nkatulu ukarolera padombo ukasuka chigungu unaenda unotora nanzva unamira kuti antibiotic ite basa chokurumidza. Please go ahead, PEMSEC.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair. The issues you specifically put to us, I'll deal with them one by one. We start with the issues of vacant posts. We want to confirm, Chairman, that over the period December, or between January and December 2025, there was a change where the vacancies increased. In January 2025, we're sitting at 162 posts which were vacant in the ministry. Come December 2025, the vacancy level had increased to 108. So there's a marked increase in the vacancy position from January 2025 compared to December 2025, which is showing that 18 officers left the ministry. And I have some indication of how this left. Of the 18, 6 of them were resignations, meaning they were leaving the ministry. 5 of them were retirements. They had reached their retirement age. Then unfortunately we had 2 deaths during the course of 2025. Then we also had some promotions to other ministries. The commission may decide this person, there's a gap in another ministry. They pick on that person, he leaves. So those were promotions. Then there's also interministerial transfers, where again a person can leave the Ministry of Mines to go to another. So this is a broad breakdown of the 18 officers who left the ministry, which compounded the vacancy level to the 108. We know, Chairman, that these vacancies, we need bodies in them so that operations are not compromised. But the recruitment process is not that straightforward. It requires a Public Service Commission where you do some notice that there's a vacancy there, then the commission shortlists, and then interviews are undertaken. In some instances, also vetting that comes into play. So that process is not fast enough, Chairman. It's a due process, but I think it doesn't respond quickly to a vacancy that turns up today. You are not assured that in the next 2 weeks you can fill that gap. The issue of the vacancies also require Treasury concurrence. It's not a matter between the ministry and the commission alone. Treasury also has to look at whether or not the funding is enough to be able to meet that recruitment. I'll ask the Director, HR, with your indulgence, perhaps he may have some point or two to make on the vacancies.
If you could put on your mic, please.
To add to what my principal has been saying, the job evaluation exercise that was undertaken by the Public Service Commission last year also put paid to the issues of recruitment. They directed that there be delay to enable the job evaluation to happen. Now that the job evaluation was done, the Commission wrote a letter to the Ministry to say they have to advise us on the steps that have been taken in terms of other jobs that were removed and also those that were retained. And the authority was given to us to recruit. And we have since done 3 different interviews, different post interviews for entry grades. And we are awaiting Commission's concurrence after the interviews for us to be able to recruit. So there's been steps that have been taken in terms of recruiting, especially the technical posts. The other support staff like HR and admin and accounts, they've also, we are waiting for Treasury concurrence. When Treasury okays it, because those posts were vacant for more than a year, so the Public Service, the Treasury will give concurrence. After that, then we'll be able to recruit. But for now, in terms of the technical posts, there has been something that has been done. So otherwise, those are the three aspects in terms of the job evaluation caused the delay, and also the treasury concurrence, and then the PSC coordinated recruitment. We only support, and the PSC are the ones who do the final decision. So these are the aspects. So we are progressing in terms of recruitment to fill those posts.
Thank you very much. Are you done?
Chairman, we now go to the next item, which is low utilization of disbursed funds. From the analysis that I have shared with the committee in terms of level of disbursements, you will find that the amounts which were released to the ministry were able to almost 100% utilize. So there is no issue about low utilization, except the big constraint, Chairman, which is the slow disbursement by Ministry of Finance. Some of these issues would have had already commitments, and they are waiting payments which are due. So I don't think for now we have that challenge as a ministry.
We go to 4 on number 1. The Auditor General's finding. And to explain maybe number 2. Like I say, the Auditor General, I won't want to say is complaining. The Auditor General is saying it's a recurring issue that the ministry has been doing. Never mind the late disbursement by treasury. But then you must submit your quarterly reports or whatever in time. And now you must note, we did not receive nothing in the first quarter. We only received a third of what we were supposed to have received in the second quarter. You are not doing it because there is nothing. No. That student must keep on learning and study, even if the parent does not pay his fees. What's your explanation on that?
Chairman, on the ministry performance financially, the Auditor General has, for the past 2 years, raised 2 concerns. The first one is to do with salaries and acquittal. The next one is to do with the translation from Zimbabwean dollars to ZiG.
Yes.
So that issue, I would ask my colleagues from accounts to respond to the committee. We'll start with the director.
Yeah, but maybe before he does that, honorable members, I will let actually our client read the findings of the Auditor General. The Auditor General is pointing a finger also at the ministry. The ministry is pointing a finger at Treasury. The last time you came here, PEMSEC, we suggested that we call actually the Minister of Finance. We have a round table. Zimbabwe is going to benefit from the endowments. The citizens are ways with so many minerals in the country. We had said, thank you, Minister, you have done right. Stoppage of all exports of raw materials. Moving in the right direction. But now when the Auditor General says, what do you have to say? So, with the indulgent committee, you will allow me actually to ask Jose to read us actually it's like the findings of the Auditor General, if you can do it, please.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson. As the PS has highlighted, those are some of the Auditor General findings, but there are still pending issues that keeps on red flagged by the Auditor General. The issue of the Wange Colliery loan, it keeps on appearing on the quarterly budget. This is something that was not dealt with. The issue of risk management policy, it also appears, and the issue of undelivered goods, the issue of fuel coupons and undelivered vehicles. So those are the issues. The ministry, when we discuss with the Department of Finance, they are saying these issues were addressed, but they keep on appearing on the quarterly budgets. So I'm not sure what is going on.
Thank you very much, Mr. Vitande, and which could be actually the reason why now Treasury goes and pays for you directly, because they will say the creditors are owed money by government because you are an arm of government as a ministry. So because you will not do it well, Treasury goes and pays. Is that not the case?
Thank you very much. We have tried, Chairman, to address these issues. I think this will be the third or so times. And I think you are right that at times we need to really directly engage Minister of Finance and the Auditor General so that we clarify the issues. But for this purpose, Chairman, I'll ask that the Director of Finance takes us through our response to all these items. Mr. Chirenjan.
Sustained.
Once again, I would like to say good morning to the Honorable Chair, good morning to the Honorable Members. Thank you, PS, for allowing me to say something on this one. As Mr. Vitande has said or has highlighted, on our submission, we have listed the outstanding Auditor General's findings, starting with the salaries. The issue of salaries were on, it was an issue of reconciliation. It was an issue of reconciliation, and this has been addressed because last week before independence, Minister of Finance had held a workshop for the reconciliation of these items, things like reconciliation of salaries and also reconciliation of or clearing of open items in the system. This has been addressed because why were they outstanding? The ministry had already done its part, but the last party, the other party was to be done by Ministry of Finance, and Finance were failing to do its part on time. So we were keeping on engaging them. But since we are now adopting the IPSAS, the accrual reporting standards, it now forced even the Ministry of Finance to clear the financial system. So that's why they held a workshop last week with ministries to make sure that open items and the other reconciliations in the system were addressed. And on the issue of translation of Zimbabwe dollar to ZiG, the ministry also did its part because ministry translated the Zimbabwe dollar amount using the guidance from the circular number 1, which was issued by Treasury, and the SSB did not use this guideline. They use their own part, their own estimates. That's why there was a difference of $0 and the SIG of ministry and the SSB. So it's now up to the SSB to adhere to circular number 1 so that our figures will match will balance each other. Then issue of risk management policy. Yes, this one has been an outstanding issue, but currently we have been given this year, we have been given a guidance through circular number G/1/27, guiding the ministries to first train the senior management, then also the risk policy champions. It has to be done by this coming second quarter. Then the policy has to be approved in the third quarter of 2026. So that is the guidance which have been proffered by Treasury so far. So that is on risk management policy. And on undelivered goods, there were some laptops and computers which were not delivered, but now these items have been delivered. And also the issue of records, fuel, anomaly on fuel. It was an issue of
point of order. Undelivered goods, you say, this was addressed, and the computers were delivered. But you just alluded in your reports in the past, few actually it's like minutes, not yourself, but as a ministry, that we don't have no tools of trade. How many computers were not delivered? And who was the supplier?
Sorry, Chair. On this issue of laptops and computers, in 2025, we entered into a contract with a certain supplier. Maybe a name will provide a elite collection to supply us with the tools of trade like laptops 57 and also computers. Then the elite collection requested to be paid in advance payment of 50%. That's why there was an issue of outstanding delivery. By the time we were audited, the elite collection had not even paid, had not even delivered any goods. So that's why it was observed not any outstanding issue. But in 2025, after making some follow-ups, he managed to deliver goods worth that 50% we had paid for him, and he did not deliver for the whole contract. He only managed to deliver laptops and the desktops, which was equivalent to the 50% we have paid, we had advanced him. So after delivering those outstanding items in 2026, then it appears he is no longer able to deliver the remaining so that we can pay the other 50%. So we said ours, it's now okay with us, ours, since we received what we have paid for him. Then on the
Point of order, Chair. Point of order.
Okay.
What is your point of order, Honorable?
Sorry, I'm failing to follow what is being said.
Thank
Maybe, I don't know if we can use vernacular language, because I'm failing to follow. 50% was advanced, then they delivered 50%, then they delivered equivalent to 50%, then they cancelled. What are we saying? The advancement was for them to pay if you paid 50%, was it for 100 computers and you got 50%?
Yeah, you talked to the
Sorry.
You addressed the chair.
Thank you, Chair. If they wanted 100 computers and they paid 50% and they were given 50%, then what happened? What was the arrangement? What was the contract with the supplier? 50%, then you did 100%, or how was it structured? I'm failing to follow it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. You're very right. There was a breach of contract. And a breach of contract is with the supplier. And what did the ministry do? You're very right. Please, can you explain? If you cannot express, in Zimbabwe, we've got 16 languages that are allowed, like he requests. We are not saying you are not able. It's not our mother language. We will do what we want without whatever, how, you can do it. But he is alluding to saying it's not making sense. Who was your supplier? Elite Laptops, yes. They haven't asked you who owns that company. How many were they when you contracted them? And you paid 50%. 50% is what then you got back. What about the other 50%? Did you cancel the contract?
Maybe before they respond, I think I should get something so that they can give us a full response. I want to request if they can share the contract with us. Maybe we can say they breached, but maybe that's what they agreed in the contract. So if they can also share a copy of this contract so that we get to understand the agreement and come to a position whether the supplier defaulted or not. I think it's important, Honorable Chair, that we get that information.
Very.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Actually, for the additional, it's like follow up. Please go ahead.
I've got, sorry, Chair. I want to add something on that.
Let them go ahead. There will be time for you to let them finish, actually, the contribution. And then when they finish, we will have all ample time to do actually learn, ask, and then it will be all right. Go ahead.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. All the requested documents, we have to submit them, for example, the contract. But what actually transpired is that the ministry entered into a contract with Elite Collections.
The point of order was on the understanding of 50% paid, 50% delivered. The honorable member is asking, he's not following you well. Can you explain or express on that one? These ones now actually will follow.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. The procurement system allows suppliers to first deliver, then we pay them. But in this case, the supplier, citing the issue of government, maybe the way government used to pay, requested any advance payment, since it is also allowed in the procurement system. The supplier may request an advance payment. Then an advance payment was agreed upon the supplier and our PMU department. to pay an advance payment of 50% of the contract. Then during the year, when the time was now ripe for the supplier to supply, he failed to supply the goods in 2025. Yeah, he failed to supply the goods. Then we keep on making follow-up until then in 2026, he managed to deliver something, the laptops, not the whole batch, and the computers. Then we calculated that the amount paid.
Order. Yeah. PEMSEC, next time actually you come, please, you have to have your house in order. We are not very impressed. Because what we need is an understanding. We are talking about money, taxpayers' money. And when it's taxpayers' money, an explanation is going to be really actually put forward in line to what honorable members here expected. We have got accountants, whatever in here, when they say it's not making sense, it won't be making sense. So what do we do? Definitely we cannot have you back actually on the same issue.
Chairman, perhaps just to assist on the matter. Yes. Yes. So the deposit which was paid for 50% is what equivalent computers and laptops were eventually supplied by the elite.
Is it allowed
50%.
Contractual rules?
When they manage to perform to that level, then we take measures, which will be for us to cancel the whole contract because he has failed to fulfill.
And the prejudice?
No, in this case, there's no prejudice, Chairman.
The ministry, yes, there is.
No, there's no prejudice.
You paid half.
Yes.
In the whole year lapse.
And they were able to supply.
No, point of order, Chair. Point of order. They requested an upfront payment of 50%. They didn't buy 50%.
No.
They requested an upfront of 50%.
And
the
they
assumption was 50%, they deliver 100%, they get the other 50%.
Exactly. So there is then a breach of contract.
Exactly.
And there is prejudice.
Exactly.
Go ahead.
It's okay. In other words, Honorable Chair,
your mic
is what was done on this tender, it falls short of the regulations of our procurement laws. What they actually did is that they gave this supplier money to buy these computers for them. You were supposed to go and make a direct purchase instead of giving someone money and then I don't think you did due diligence on this aspect, Honorable Chair. I think we also needed to hear from the ministry what actions did they take. What actions did they take? Because there are provisions in the Press Act that when there are issues that violate this act between the contractor and the client, there are actions that can be taken, even to sue the supplier, and they can even get blacklisted by the press. So we want to hear the actions that we have taken as the ministry when we have realized that this is the situation that you are in.
Thank you very much. This issue is very important. What I find, off record, let them finish. I'm not recording. Let them finish. Then you can come in on them for clarity, clarification. Then we may have to ask the PEMSEC, still off record, that they've been looking at the committee too lowly. Too lowly. It has to stop. And we require now also this like 4. Not a mediocre performance from the ministry. Oral evidence that they've got to give to this parliament, they must respect the government. If you heard him right, he said they demanded 50% because government doesn't pay. It will be a story for another day. PEMSEC, can you go ahead?
Chairman, I wanted to say, in this section, we are looking at findings by the Auditor General.
Yes.
And the finding by the Auditor General was a non-delivery of the goods and services. It's not about the procurement process. The Auditor General did not find any fault in the process. But I think it's allowed then to inquire further, to say, was this done, was this done? Yes. So in terms of the finding which is here, we are confirming that the supplier eventually supplied something. And for him to say, yes, he supplied 50% equivalent. Yes, the auditors had found him wanting in terms of the delivery. That's why it was an audit report. When we discovered that, and we always knew, we actually made steps. We went to the police and everybody else. That's what forced this person to supply. So when we are asking in terms of what exactly was supplied, Chairman, it is equivalent to that 50%.
How many that?
Do you have details? I think Chairman will need to submit the details. Yes.
All right,
yes.
fine.
We need to submit that.
So do we still have anything that they will want now actually to maybe elaborate from the Auditor General's findings? Or what else? You can go ahead, Honorable Karmazondo.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair, for the opportunity. Chair, I think the contractor disadvantaged other contractors who have participated in the tender, and the suppliers who participated in the tender. They were disadvantaged. Also, maybe for the committee, I think it is good for us to know maybe if you can have the CR14 so that maybe you can know who is the one of the company, the directors. Also, Chair, I have an interest. Besides these laptops, there was the issue of cars, vehicles, which were not delivered again. So maybe can you also tell us what is the position again? Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. What we are saying now is, honorable members and the Ministry of Mines, actually our team, there are a lot of things which may not be then actually discussed today because of time. But like I've always said and alluded, PEMSEC, you bear with me, that we say we need to find one another, the ministry and the committee. We are not. The undelivered goods, the laptops, the vehicles, We've got Croco Motors here, we've got Toyota, we've got Faramati. There are so many. Why did this one have to go like he alluded? Who was the supplier?
Thank you very much, Chair. I think it's good for them. Of course, there is time. No, I think it's good for them to just clarify on the issues you raised, because this is from the auditor's report. They need to do that like now, so that maybe when we meet, they must come prepared with detail. Next time they must come with detailed things. And also, for your own information, Chair, it seems as if the ministry, they are just taking these things lightly, very lightly, especially from the auditor's report. That's the main reason why maybe the minister is now directing the money direct to the suppliers. There is something which is going on. They need to look into it. Thank you, Chair.
Yeah, PEMSEC, if you could go ahead, like actually the committee is not very happy. But it will be very good to have remorse, to be remorseful, because you don't do it all as PEM secretary. You know, the same actually is like committee members. I will not tell you what they are thinking. Maybe the companies that supplies are your companies, members from the ministry, which is very bad. So I will allow you to go ahead. Please to go ahead.
Yeah, this time maybe I will ask the chief accountant. The chief accountant will assist us on that, Mr. Mchineripi.
Okay. With your due indulgence, Chair, maybe probably the first thing, without taking anything away from the committee's observations, I would want to clarify on the issue of direct payments by Treasury. The procedure is when Treasury releases budget for us to make a payment or to procure goods and services, we don't pay directly USD. So what then happens, there are suppliers, especially those that supply vehicles, they will strictly ask for foreign currency payment or USD payment. Our account, which we use with the Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe, is in ZWG. So what then we do is we process the ZWG component, which is our local currency component. And after processing that, we submit it to Treasury for the payment of the USD component, since we don't have a USD account. That's why we are now having direct payments from Treasury or being done by Treasury in form of USD, not ZWL. If it's ZWG, then probably it's salaries and nothing else. All payments that are being done directly by Treasury are foreign currency or USD payments, either to local suppliers before the Treasury circular, which was issued a few weeks ago to say no more foreign currency payments to local suppliers, or they are paying to international suppliers. So in this case, I just wanted to make it clear to our esteemed committee that payments which are being done by Treasury, it's not because they've seen it fit to pay on our behalf, because we are not a good baby, but it's procedural. It's procedural. Then from the question which has been raised by Honorable Karima Sondo on the issue of undelivered vehicles, yes, the ministry entered into a contract with the Creative Motors. I think that was in some time back in 2023. And
Creative Motors.
Yeah. So, and Faramats, like Honorable Chair has just mentioned, indeed it participated in the tendering process. But what now happens is the procurement process, in terms of it says you award a tender to the lowest bidder according to specifications. You see, that's so it goes through this whole cycle. We submit to PRAS, and spoke okays the procurement. So this procurement for the vehicles was okayed by Special Procurement Oversight Committee, and we then entered into a contract with this Creative Motors. So ministry made some follow-ups then, and what then he did was he delivered one Toyota Prado. I think that was in early 2024 or early 2025, if my memory serves me right. Right. After delivering that Toyota Prado, we then realized later that it had not been properly cleared by Zimra. So Zimra had then to confiscate the vehicle, and we then engaged Zimra. So given this, that is where we are. Ministry has taken the issue to the Attorney General's office. We have reported the issue to the Zimbabwe Republic Police, and also the ministry has engaged Zimra to make sure that we get that impounded vehicle back. So that's the issue we are working on in terms of the true and delivered vehicles. I submit, Honorable Chair.
Yeah, honorable members, I think this one we will agree actually is like we need a rematch. PEMSEC. It's a time that we are saying, honestly, you're being paid by government, we being also actually given allowance and paid by government, taxpayers' money. Take home, can we say we had a very successful evidence with the Minister of Mines? From your, are you happy that we have had this oral evidence? Does it benefit anyone?
No, there is need for follow-up, Chairman, where we give the proper evidence on the specific items.
So if we are agreed, honorable member, do we have then actually to proffer questions on this one? Maybe we will proffer questions so that when they go back, they will go and put their house in order. They will come back actually prepared, and they will give it to us as required. But as a committee, you also have got to put your house actually to the mandate of what transpired today. Your resolutions pertaining the performance of the Ministry of Mines, because it is your oversight role. So they will have it and you will have it. But then when then are we supposed to be meeting in the near future? Because our report is being awaited for in Parliament. So are we in agreement, PEMSEC, that we get into plenary and then we will profile actually it's like a question and whatever. Then we will then actually want, it's you who will have to tell us when you're ready, but it mustn't take 2 weeks. Because this is recorded in Parliament as an oral evidence from the Minister of Mines. We have come actually with a half-cooked actually it's like thing when we did write to you on the 7th of April. Are we agreed on the members? We go into plenary. So we do that. I'll have a baby question here, and then everybody else will join. PEMSEC. I'll start with a question. This has been happening actually the short and late disbursements by Treasury to the Ministry. What is your take? Is it normal? Is the Minister of Finance not liking you like other ministries? Because you are a critical ministry, but you are not getting nothing. And if you wanted a redress to it, how would you do it? That you get money disbursed to the ministry in time. Honourable members, the floor is now open. Honourable Pasi.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Chair. My question, I've got two questions. The first one, I would agree with the payers on the point of paying people, the inspectors, without going out to do their duties. What measures have you put in place to avoid that? Because we cannot just look and make people get paid for just being seated in offices. So what measures do we have in place? The second question is on exploration. Year in, year out, you always have a budget of exploration. We haven't seen anything or a report of what has been done so far for you to then ask for another money. It looks like you get the money for that budget and then nothing is happening. What do you have in place that you can tell us to convince that we are doing something? Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honourable Pasi. Next question, Honourable Tobayuan.
Thank you very much, Chair. I understand you mentioned that 18 people resigned from the ministry. What was the main reason, or did you ever have a follow up on them resigning? And it's not simple just having 18 people within the ministry resigning, not retiring, but resigning from the ministry. What was the main reason of them resigning from the ministry?
Thank you very much. Honourable Nyati.
Thank you, Chair. I just want to go in a different direction now. I want to find out if the ministry has maybe issues that they feel maybe we can assist them with the Minister of Finance in terms of retention of some funds that they generate. I note that they raised a matter where they said they could not do mine inspections. Hence, they say for 2 years now. And I'm asking myself if they don't have any funds that they collect or any revenues that they are allowed to retain, or do you think there's